Once again, thank you for joining Let's Talk Avelo. I'm very excited to chat tonight with Ross Neal. He is the Global Partnerships and Business Development Director for Shearwater Research. And I'm
Yes.
Jennifer Idle, Marketing Director for Avelo Labs. We're very busy at Avelo and super excited to share some of this news with you, see what people's experiences are like, and to hear from Ross this evening. I have very much enjoyed our journey together, Ross. You have been such a joy since the day I met you, and I'm always excited to see and watch you continue to evolve, which I'm sure you didn't think was possible because you have had so much evolution already in your career.
It is interesting to see where things are now because they are not as they were even a couple months ago. Yes.
We are certainly on our toes at Avelo. You're definitely a passionate industry professional who's not only a diver, an instructor, a course director, but you're also involved with Avelo and Shearwater Research.
Yes. Yes, which I could not be more excited about. I have been a staunch shearwater diver since I started my rebreather career back in 2010, 11, and I've loved the products. Literally when I went into the offices, I was like, "Ooh, ooh," and they're like, "No, Ross, you work here." I'm like, "I know, but it's Shearwater. It's so cool." So this is just to say that I've got to be the Avelo ambassador at Shearwater is two of the best jobs in the world.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to dive into that this evening because
I like
yeah,
what you said.
I definitely want to take a look at your prolific dive history.
Well, you definitely keep me on my fin tips. Yes, I'm happy to dive deeper into that. Yes.
And I expect more of this tonight. Oh, well, some of these hats are extremely diverse and extend beyond scuba diving, even.
Yes.
You have worn hats that include drama
Yes.
and football.
And yes.
These are some
Uh,
of the small anecdotes that I've learned about you over the past few years.
these
Uh,
are a few of my cobwebs. Yes.
these are a few of your favorite things. But they have all informed your career and I think contributed to the overall perspective you have in this industry. Uh,
You know what? I actually had a chance to go full circle. So, just a little bit of history. I was actually doing a Broadway. It's called a First National Tour of a big Broadway musical, and I was stationed in, or the theater was in St. Louis, or sorry, St. Paul, Minnesota, and I had my days free. And I had always wanted to scuba dive. The first time I tried it, I was 8 years old. I mean, that's another whole story. That's another whole podcast. But while I was doing the show, I was like, I've got my days free, and I just want to. I'm going to go ahead and get certified. And I got certified with a NAUI instructor that was like a three-digit NAUI instructor. This is back in the 1900s, by the way. And so then everywhere I went, I would bring my dive gear. And then I ended up doing that same show, but in Vancouver, where I did all of my specialties, like everything. I was an advanced diver because I knew that we needed to become advanced. But I did all of my specialties, including my rescue, at a place called White Cliff, which is now today where I'm doing the test diving for the Shearwater new jetpack. So this whole this cycle is just unbelievable to me.
and more on that jetpack later.
Yes, that was a little taste.
Well, extraordinary. I saw you recently interviewed with Kenny Dial on the Scuba
Mhm.
Diving Channel and saw you putting some of your drama lessons. Uh,
I may have done a time step or two, yes, to show how light the unit was. Yes, it's true. I can still tap. And I can shuffle off of the dock, and but yes, that was to show how light the system was.
it also helps you as an instructor in how you communicate with students.
You mean my theater?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, it It does come in handy on several accounts. When people are like, do you mind stepping up in front of all these people and talking? I usually joke and say, no, I am really nervous. I don't want to. And then I get up there and they're like, can you turn his mic off, please? After about half an hour. So yeah, especially I had a sojourn at Patty, and my boss, immediate boss at that time, during employee appreciation day, I got a note. That's all it was, a note on my desk. You are passionate about everything you do.
That is so accurate and lovely. I like it. Well, you've gone full circle into coming back to Vancouver with the Shearwater Jetpack, but I'd like to go
Yes.
in the Wayback Machine into how did you get into diving to begin with?
Ooh, wow. So, interesting. So I grew up in New York City until I was about 11. And I had a snorkel and a mask that I would scuba dive in my bathtub as an infant. Because then I, my father, who was also a performer, was singing in Miami, and there was a little lean-to at the hotel that we were staying at. And again, this is really way back in the 1900s. And there was a Navy guy that had a lean-to and said, "Okay." I was 8 years old. I went up and I said, "You know what? I watch The Man from Atlantis with Patrick Duffy, and I want to be him." I know everybody wanted to be somebody else, but for me, it was the man from Atlantis because I want to breathe underwater. I want to swim like there's nothing. And so he threw all the gear in the bottom of the deep end. And he said, if you can jump down there, put the regulator in your mouth, clear it, put the mask on, put everything up, and come up, I'll teach you how to do it. Okay. So that was the beginning of a very long career so far. Then, like I said, I actually ended up getting certified because to me, being underwater, yeah, fish are wonderful. I love fish. Watching people are wonderful. I love it. I want to be the fish. I want to just be in the water. That to me is just cool. I mean, yes, it's absolutely amazing to watch people evolve and become better instructors, better divers, and throughout my career, I've been blessed to be able to teach a lot of instructors and watch how people learn how to teach, how pedagogically they learn how to teach, and be part of that forming. Um, but really, the absolute water geek in me just likes to be underwater and just, I see fish. I'm like, dude, we're hanging, we're chilling. I'm liking it.
So you have no vivid memory at all of starting out to dive. It sounds like you were in love with it from before the moment you could breathe underwater, and you've had a long storied career with it. And are you also a technical diver?
I'm a technical diver. I'm a rebreather diver. I'm a side mount diver. I'm a test diver. I'm a public safety diver. I'm a you name it diver. If there's water involved, then I want to be involved. It's just something. It's something that's for me. It's always made sense. I mean, I've even done Formula One where I was in a pond waiting for a car to flip over just in case they went in. Okay, I'll be a safety diver for that. Sure. So yes, I am also the short answer to that is I am also a technical diver. Although I will admit that the advent of side mount, way back when it first came out, when Jeff Laughlin was first saying, I think the side mount thing is a good thing. You don't have to do this, and you can do this. I went, I don't want to put doubles on my back any longer because I saw a thing that he said, how I do my drills that normally you have to do this and you do this and this. He said, I do it like this. And I was hooked.
This sounds similar to the latest train in diving, where we're rethinking the dive experience entirely And in addition to these things, you're now an Avelo diver. How did you
Uh,
first get into diving the Avelo system?
I was suckered into it. No. So I had heard about Avelo at DEMA for probably 2 years. And I'll be the first one to admit, I was like, yeah, a tank inside a tank. What? No, what? It's lighter. Yeah, whatever. My buoyancy is great. I don't need that. Sorry. Sorry, everybody. That's honestly how I felt. And then I got a call from a buddy of mine who made me on this call, Jay. And he said, I'd like to I'd like to hook you up with Aviad. Aviad's the guy that invented it. I'd like to hook the two of you up because I think you're gonna talk the same language. And it's not that I speak Hebrew, but we talk geek and we talk diving, we talk underwater is magical because Jay and I had worked in the past and had a great kinship and done some training together. And so thankfully, he put the two of us together, Aviad and I. And Aviad it was Christmas time, 2023. Not that I remember it vividly. And I said, I don't really have much time, but we could do a video chat maybe while my wife Christmas shops. And about 3 hours later, she had bought all the presents for the next 2 years and Abia and I had decided that it was like a kindred spirit. And we were talking about, oh, it's like rebreather diving with the breathing and the floatability. Sorry, I'm speaking French now, floatability and the neutral buoyancy. It's the mindset of the free diver. There's so many things all wrapped into one, but you're still a fish. I said, well, you know what? I would have to really kind of try it because, yeah, sure, I get it, but I don't get it. It's kind of like, trying to teach somebody how to hover without being in the water. What does it mean? And so I called up the owner of the dive shop that I was working with, and I said, "Hey, man, do you want a good reason to go to Maui?" And he went, "Yeah." And so we went to Maui, and I went out with Jay and Aviad, and they brought us out, and they downplayed everything, and I mean, it was we just sort of went out with the gear, and they taught us everything, and it was great. And we went out, and we went down, and we went up, and we swam, and we did everything. We got back, and then it hit me. I was like, I I just did all that, and I never thought about my buoyancy. I just got neutrally buoyant. And I didn't have to adjust anything every so minutes, and I was breathing, and then we came back, and he showed me these profiles that at the time looked like, spaghetti at an Italian restaurant, and but then he explained it, and then suddenly it was like, "Oh." And then I died one more time on a BCD the next day because I couldn't get a unit to go on a boat. And then after that, I've never been on a BCD since, and that's almost a year and 8, 9 months.
Has it only been a year and 8 months? Because we have been on such a journey in that time.
Oh, yeah. I have to admit, so today I was teaching an Avelo Pro, talk about full circle, by the way. I was teaching an Avelo Pro, and I looked at the profile and went, "Oh my god." To a guy that I did his dive master back in 2004. I did his instructor 2005. He's a great friend of mine, but it's like the full circle in this community is amazing. At a dive shop in Montreal that I used to work with, and I was teaching this thing, and it was just like this wonderful symbiotic. Oh my god, I can't believe that I'm here teaching this stuff that not even 2 years ago was completely brand new to me. And now I'm the one that gets to say, yes, during the technician course, for instance, you are going to need to pull that bladder out and learn how to do it on your own because you're going to do it. And yes, it's going to take you a little bit longer this first time. I was there, but now I get to teach and work with those people that I adore with a company. And I have to say, and this is not just a plug. the Avelo and the Shearwater team are simply amazing to work with. They're so supportive. They're always thinking ahead. They're always thinking of making it more simple, more easier for us, more and from a diver's point of view. This is the thing that I love most about the process that we're dealing with now is that it's being done by dive professionals within the dive profession, not just really smart engineers, not just really smart pedagogues, not just really smart. It's the really smart, and they're also excellent divers and dive professionals as well. And I think well, I know that that's done on purpose, and that's just something that is so amazing to me to be part of.
You're an Avelo instructor, um, but you were already an instructor. What made you decide you wanted to teach the system?
Wow. First and foremost, and as Larry, his own here, my brother from another mother, I love to teach. I love to pull things apart. I love to teach people what it looks like when it's right, because there are a thousand ways to make it wrong, but when it's right, it's right. And there's something that's so knife edge correct about diving a vela because you literally, and to use Larry's words, you become the fish. It's one of those amazing things where it happens when you can let go of all the preconceived, any of the other things. It's a different system. It's a different unit. So there was a bit of a challenge. I have often been accused of being one to climb every mountain that I can, both artistically and physically. Um, and and at the same time, once I started diving this, I was like, you know what? This, first of all, it's going to change the industry. It has actually changed the industry, but I think it's going to change the industry in the long term because it is so intuitive to the body. The gear itself is intuitive to the body when the body actually becomes one with the gear. And I say that because so, and we don't realize how much we do it, but we defensively dive a BCD because the BCD has more power than we do. Because it can pull us up, it can push us down. The BCD has more power. But with the Velo, we get to be one with the gear and we dive the gear because yes, it's got the power because it's got the battery, but it very much you become one with that gear almost immediately, literally almost immediately. So I saw that out. I thought, oh my God, what an amazing thing when I could turn around as an instructor and go, oh, where am I? Oh, no, that can't happen anymore. It doesn't because there's no balloon that can pull them up. I love that. I actually, come on, 30, 40 years been teaching. I mean, but how many times are you going to see somebody have a problem with their mask before you want to flood it yourself? But now I'm like, go ahead, have a problem with your mask. We're neutrally buoyant. You're not going up, you're not going down. Okay, now I only have to focus on the one problem that you've got, not the problem and the buoyancy. That to me when I started seeing that, I was like, "Oh my god, I need to bring this to other people. People need to see this. Instructors need to see this. Instructors need to have that much more confidence introducing people to the water." And I think that Avelo absolutely offers that confidence.
So now we've gone up to your career. You've gone and become an Avelo diver. You've figured out the value for your students. You have your instructor and course director mindset. How did you become an Avelo instructor and what's that like? How is becoming an Avelo instructor different from all of your other instructor courses?
Um, I, I would say blood, sweat, and tears, and because Avia told me so. But no, um, it obviously you've got ratios to meet, you've got numbers to meet. The truth of the matter is, I went untaught. The more you can teach, the better. Um, becoming an Avelo pro or an Avelo instructor, the Avelo instructor is not there to teach you how to be an instructor. It's utilizing the fact that you are already an instructor, which allows the beauty of the Avelo Pro to shine, or allows the student to shine in the pro, because I can take somebody from a NAUI, from a PADI, from an SSI, from an SDI, from a CMAS, from any organization, and augment their teaching, because what I'm teaching them to do is how to teach the Avelo system, is how to talk the Avelo system. What are the students going to ask? What are the students going to do? We all know the shall we say, not expected things that our students can do. Okay, so again, if we go to the core of what everyone's teaching should be, which is know what it looks like when it's right, then we simply dissect the skills and that which is of the essence of the recreational level diver, which is, for instance, looking at our pressure, making sure that it's rising as we pump. That's a muscle memory. So as a trainer, I put that muscle memory into my instructors to put that muscle memory into their divers. The things that we don't do, we don't grab for this. So I actually omit things. Well, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, because as soon as you say don't do something, that's the last thing the brain hears. So instead, during the Avelo Pro and teaching the Avelo instructors, now, go ahead. Do what you're trained to do. Talk to your divers the way that you want to. Do you want to do a contact and a value and do it and read it off the slate the way that you've been taught in your specific training agency? Excellent. This is the way that we simply need. We need to make sure that you can talk about Avelo at the same time. So we don't talk about problems and solutions. We talk about the consequences if you don't do something. So, in other words, thinking about it in a different manner, retraining that body, retraining that inner self that already knows how to dive automatically. I mean, some of the easiest divers to teach a recreational Avelo is the brand new diver and the super totally experienced like rebreather, free diver, that type of thing, because they have had either they don't have things burned in their head or they've had several things, different things burned in their head. The in betweens, you'll see sometimes a they'll go for a low pressure inflator hose. Oh, I'm not going down. You're right. There's no low pressure inflator hose. So instead of focusing on what they don't have in the Avelo Pro, we focus on what they do have, the tools that are at their behest, to focus on the good things that they will do during their recreational Avelo diver.
Thank you. You kind of crossed between teaching
Sorry.
recreational Avelo diver and moved into becoming an Avelo instructor trainer. So it's hard to get your hat back into Avelo instructor. Um, why did you become an Avelo instructor trainer? Because you've gone down, let's keep going down this Avelo rabbit hole that you've gone down.
Why did I? So I will say that I used to be a Velo instructor trainer number 101, which simply meant that I was the first instructor trainer outside of the Avelo umbrella. I was the first non-Avelo employee. And then they changed their numbers now to 3, but that's okay. I'm not hurt that much. But at least it's an odd number. Why did I become an Avelo instructor trainer? Quite literally, I want more people to dive Avelo, and I think one of the most amazing things is a non-diver that is going to dive this for the first time. The neutral buoyancy is magical. It is absolutely magical. And to be able to take a diver that has any kind of buoyancy problems and pretty much eliminate that. I mean, I've had divers that have come in. I have to have 22 pounds. Okay, okay. Let Let's vote. Let's look at the calculations. Oh, the calculations say 6, but that's definitely wrong. Let's do 15. Okay. Okay. Tell you what, we're right here. We're right next to the boat. Just for fun. Just for fun. Let's try it with 6. Then we come back up, of course, after about 2 dives. They're diving with 2 pounds because they really don't need it because it's that cool. Then to have an instructor watch me do that and go, hmm, there's something there, isn't there? Can you teach me how to do that? Sure, sure. Then the, oh yeah, well, you can't do rescue in it. Really? Okay. Let's do a whole session on it. Let's do a rescue course. Let's pull up the SMB and tell me you can't do a rescue now. Come on. So the mindset, especially of I love the overthinkers because I get them in the water and then they go, oh, oh. And I say, try this, try that. Go ahead, try it. Well, what if I'm at 120 feet and I'm in a dry suit? Go ahead, let's go. Let's go to 120 feet. In the dry suit and let's do it. And then we come back up and they're like, oh, you really can. Yes, you really can. Because it's so accessible. It's simple. It's it's mindfully mindless. And I say it that way on purpose because after several hundred dives, I've realized how less fatigued my brain is, even though they're minute little changes. When we do so many minute little changes when diving a BCD, whether we're cognizant of it or not, that when we don't have it any longer and we stop ourselves and go, oh, I just did this descent to 40 feet and didn't change anything at all. And then I stayed completely neutral. And then I went up and I didn't change anything at all. And I stayed completely neutral. Or, you know, I'm a lazy ass diver and I'm at 15 feet. And you know what? I didn't weigh myself properly. So I'm positively buoyant by about 2 pounds. Really? Really? Do. Pump. Now I'm neutrally buoyant again. So to find ways of retraining my instructors' brains to talking about it in the positive, talking about it in the what if, what about? Yes, you can. That to me is magic. I love it.
You talked about reducing the cognitive load, but there's a physical load that we reduce, and you're deep into the Avelo mode in your world.
Wow.
So can you talk about what Avelo has done for workload and what it's doing physiologically to us?
So, I mean, where to start? First and foremost, you mentioned my checkered past or my florid past. Uh, one of those things that I did actually, I was a ballet dancer for several years, and as a product, I actually have bilateral hip replacement. I've got other injuries on my body that make the boat ladder. It looks at me and it says, come on, man. Get up here. Come on, you can do it. Yeah. Like Beetlejuice on a bad day. On a Velo, I'm like, I got you. And I go do, up that ladder because it's lighter. It's just flat out. That to me is one of the most amazing things. I pick up I say a scuba tank now as opposed to an Avelo tank. I pick up the tank and I'm like, oh, what is this? I mean, I feel like I'm picking up an old, like, a 120, 30, 3,400 Faber or something like that. I'm like, this is like ridiculous. So that's the first thing. It's lighter. It's easier to sling around. It's so much easier also with the lightness to deal with my students because they don't get away from me. I can literally just take my fingers and put them where I need them. Then physiologically, the Avelo mode And this is where the brilliance of Shearwater, Avelo, and Scuba Pro have come into play with an Avelo mode to take all of the data that is in our computers that there's so much stuff that even I was like, Buellman 2080, or what are we talking? How are we going to deal with this? No, 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 no. Now we're talking sac rate, we're talking water temperature, we're talking your up and down, so your neutral buoyancy. I've been able to show somebody simply the way that the position that they're in when they descend, if they would change that position just slightly, their sac rate improves because they're not working as hard, because there's not as much drag on the body, simply by managing the profiles after the dive. If our listeners and lookers haven't seen the Avelo mode, again, it looks like spaghetti when you first look at it, but if you break it down and you look at the depth, you look at the pressure inside the tank, you can look at the bladder, but then you look at what we call the workload. It For most of us, we would call that a sack, but the workload is quite literally what is going on with us when we dive. That most of us probably think, oh, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, breathe in. You actually get to see, does that work? Oh, when I'm doing something that may not work the best. What is the best way to dive? Then, then you get to go, "Boop, I think I'm beautifully neutral. This is where I feel good." And then I get to, as your instructor, get to show you afterwards, hey, you thought you were good there, but a little bit later, you actually felt better, didn't you? Yeah, I did. How did you know that? Because I can see it on the graph. I can see it right here. Your breathing actually even slowed down a little bit more. Your trim looks better. Look at where you were with the trim. So it's with some people, the ones that log their dives every single dive and did the launch and the lat, they'll start playing their own game with, I think I can zero this exactly to where the computer even think that I need to be, or the algorithm thinks that I need to be. So I've I've literally seen people, and specifically instructors, that were able to use even less gas during their dives based off of prepping the mind before they do something, and the gear will follow. Prep the mind and the gear will follow.
Well, imagine what that does to us physiologically. I mean, we go under there to escape, a lot of us, and to lower our stress. And then going underwater for many people is extremely stressful. And we have all of these physiological stresses, and then, the delightful sort of scuba diver hyperbaric free treatment that we get by going under pressure. And it feels really great on our bodies. So I know there's some studies that are starting to be underway that will look more closely at this. I'm excited for when they come out to see what the results are on that. But as an instructor, we can see people being more relaxed and less stressed. And then in technical diving, we talk about how that increases your perceptual awareness. So people then can pay attention to their buddy or other things around them or the environment. And I think that contributes, as you mentioned, to a better gas consumption. So we get longer dives, but also improved safety.
Well, absolutely. I mean, let's face it. We're always looking at becoming safer divers, better divers, all of the above. It is not to say that diving with a BCD is unsafe. On the contrary, the instructors out there have done amazing work teaching people how to dive with a balloon. Because that's what it is, and sometimes you can't always control that balloon, and that's what a lot of the skills in a BCD course teach us. We don't have to do that in a Avelo, teaching somebody how to deal with a balloon. We get to teach somebody how to deal with being neutrally buoyant and, oh, you might be 2 pounds overweighted, purge. You might be 2 pounds underweighted, pump. Then physiologically, just and not to mention the technical aspects of it, but look at the therapeutic aspects of it. I mean, we know that therapeutic diving is an amazing thing on the body. You hit 60 feet, and the serotonin levels change for us. So the simplicity of the buoyancy on a therapeutic diver, be it with something with the body, something with the mind, something with whatever it is, so much of that stress is already relieved with being neutrally buoyant and not having to compete with the balloon, that it allows us to be even that much more in a healing position, in a healed position underwater, and allow the water to do, or probably I'm going to speak for myself, but I think I speak for many. Water is therapeutic, mentally, physically, emotionally. So the closer that we can get to that, in my opinion, the better.
So recently, you have shifted gears, and not only are you now training instructors, but you're also helping with global expansion and
Yes,
helping people in Avelo dive centers or dive centers become Avelo dive centers. I'm speaking to you today from Texas, and I appreciate you joining this evening because you are not at home in Key Largo. Can you talk to us about where you are and what it's like to become an Avelo dive center and help Avelo reach new global destinations?
absolutely. So yes, I appreciate that you actually read my title earlier, because I tend to need to use my business card to do so. Um, because I explain it as I'm the one that wants to bring a Velo to the world on behalf of Shearwater, because it's really cool. Um, the truth of the matter is, there are so many places now that are looking to become Avelo dive centers. We're expanding as quickly as we can. I'm actually currently in Montreal, which thankfully it's my old stomping ground. This is where I actually learned how to become an instructor. So it's fun to be back here. But having just been in Vancouver to do some test diving, having just been in Malaysia to bring on board another dive center, getting ready to go to Cozumel. And although it sounds really wonderful to do all this travel, really what we're if we could put everybody in one big room and say, this is how you become an Avelo dive center, this is how you become an Avelo instructor, we would. In some cases, what we're doing is, in both Avelo and Shearwater are now able to travel to destinations to help do what we call an onboarding. So typically, an onboarding would be something either in the likes of taking 4 to 6 instructors that want to become the instructors or the Avelo instructors for the dive center, and then teaching them how to, first of all, dive the Avelo system, so become a recreational Avelo diver. Then diving for at least they need 10 dives, and then diving it. And then while they're diving it, um, we, the trainers, would either be working with other Avelo divers to bring together some more customers, or in some cases, like here in Montreal, what I did is I came in, I trained some instructors, then I went to do some other stuff, and I left gear so that they could get their dives in. And I left gear having taught them in a technician course so that they could actually. An Avelo technician course is, think of it less about how to service a regulator and more how to troubleshoot what that regulator and what that tank is doing. That's really what the technician course is about. Then I came back to teach the Avelo Pro to the instructors that I left in charge of that gear and diving, so that then this weekend, they're actually going to have an event that's already sold out. As a matter of fact, it was sold out within, I think it was almost 36 hours of it going out. It was sold out for 6 hours. Uh,
We're losing you a little bit.
Word, oh no.
Okay, I think you're back.
How about now?
You're a little less max headroomy.
Okay, better.
Better. You were telling us that Plage de Neptune sold out in 36 hours.
Yes, Centre de Plongée de Neptune sold out within 36 hours, and they've got a waiting list. They've already got to do a next event the next week, because there's so many people that want to dive the system. And so what I've done is, or what Shearwater and Avelo have been able to do, is come in, train the instructors to then teach at those events, while I am then going to be present at the event to be able to do surface support, talk about the Avelo system, talk about the Shearwater computers, talk about the seamless integration of the Avelo mode on the Shearwater computers, and then do it at other places. The beauty I find at being someone and part of a team that is full of people that have been in the industry for so long is we understand the dive industry. We understand that sometimes things turn on a dime. Sometimes it's like turning a battleship. Sometimes it's easy to convince the new owner. Sometimes it's not. A lot of times it's all about diving the unit in the first place. So we'll actually look at each case individually and find the best fit for the demographic of the dive center, for the economy of the dive center, and for the economics and more specifically the clientele of the dive center.
The biggest feedback I hear in marketing from people is it is in demand and that people really want to dive the system, but because it's not accessible in as many places as they'd like, there's hesitation and they want access to it. So how do those people get that access?
Be the next people to have access is that's my easy answer. If if you want to wait for somebody to do something, okay, you're going to wait for somebody to do something. Right now, Avelo and Shearwater are at the forefront of bringing Avelo to the world, hence the global part of my title. So there are liveaboards already that are bringing on Avelo. There are dive destinations already that are bringing on Avelo. Maybe you are a dive center that goes to a lot of these destinations. Well, great. So you need to become the Avelo Dive Center then that trains your divers, that is also a new source of a way to get to your divers, something new to offer to your big crowd. Offer the recreational Avelo diver. Oh, and by the way, I also have a trip to the Philippines on a liveaboard that has Avelo. Oh, by the way, I also have a trip to Bonaire that has Avelo. Catalina, you name it. The other thing that I will say from a marketing point of view on Avelo is Jennifer is great at making sure that the Avelo passport is always accessible and available so that people know where Avelo is available, how to get there, who to contact, because it's new. And let's face it, the scuba industry does not like new things. It does not embrace new things right away. We need to see it, we need to feel it, and we don't necessarily want to pay for it that much. This is one of those investments that is going to pay for itself. The ROI at a dive center that I recently worked at was almost within 2 months for the entire year. Okay, great. The way that you work as a dive center, your business plan to bring on Avelo is going to be hindered only by the way that you think that this is the way it's always been done. It's not. It's new. So yes, you do get to come up with new ways and new innovations to get those divers that have always come into your dive shop, get them into the system. The guy with his wife that always walk into the dive center and look at the new stuff that you got, those are the easy ones. It's the ones that come in and go, oh, that mask. I'm not sure, I want that atomic mask, but you know what? I'm just gonna do the this one that I bought it at Costco. It's okay. Okay, fine. Put them side by side, and they can't not feel, not just see, feel the difference. Diving is the difference.
I
You
know
don't
we're
dive on the surface.
I know we're excited about all these destinations. You mentioned liveaboards, and Seatopia Liveaboard has started, and most notably, Solitude Liveaboards and Resorts is offering the Avelo system. They are up and running with Solitude Acacia Resort, and the inaugural cruise is happening January 17 to 30 next year,
Mm.
with the Solitude One, which is one of their luxury vessels. They have a whole bunch of dive centers throughout Southeast Asia. So I know there's a lot of growth, and anti-gravity diving started earlier. And you can find out more about all of the liveaboards on our events page and our Find a Dive Center page. We have that inaugural cruise that is very exciting. And it's, I think, just about sold out. So that's super cool. One thing that we love to do at Avelo is support the Avelo Diamond community and help people get into the community and grow. So it's just super cool that you get to be a part of that journey. And I love to see how all of that transforms. I know Shearwater started recently, we entered into working with Shearwater through the Avelo Mode, and that became available on all Air integrated computers except for which one? There's one I think that's still not yet, but just
No,
about no, all of them now.
all of them. The only thing it's not on is the nerd, which is the thing here.
Okay,
But all entered, so it's on the Peregrine, it's on the Perdix, it's on the Tern, and it's on the Terror,
fantastic.
and they're
So
cool.
we have Avelo Mode, which started, and I know that innovation is a core value to both Avelo and to Shearwater. And I'm sure when they were looking at this, they're like, Avelo Mode's a start, but where could they go next? And we announced that next at Scuba Show. That next for Shearwater was the Shearwater Jetpack, which
Yes.
integrates with the Shearwater computers and Avelo Mode.
So, no lie, in meetings, whenever we talk about or whenever I talk about the Shearwater Jetpack, I have to do it in the Batman voice because it's really cool. It just looks cool. So, it 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 has taken the Avelo Jetpack, and they've been able to put in the, the power, the simplicity. But yes, there is an actual transmitter built into the jetpack that is then connected by a high pressure hose that's a quick disconnect into the first stage. So for instance, dropouts are going to be far fewer because you're connected and it's connected directly to the power source. Furthermore, it's got a hugging, and I say hugging in a warm, wonderful way, a hugging jacket that goes on top. For those of you who are actually familiar with the jetpack, I love the jetpack. Shearwater's just been able to say, "Hey, let's make it, let's make it better. Let's make it cooler. Let's make it more comfortable. Let's do this with it." So they've been able to augment the comfort of it. There are 2 different sizes. It's gonna be a medium small and a medium large, which is good. And huh, we there are 2 people that I work with that are there's one person that's about 5'1", she's about 105 pounds, and there's another person that I work with that's about 6'7", and and a little over 3. And it fits all of them in between. And it is also completely neutrally buoyant, if not very slightly positively buoyant at all times. So they looked at things to augment and to simply enhance that which Avelo has already brought. Um, by no means is it saying that the Avelo Jetpack is not good. It's just Shearwater has brought their flavor of dive gear to Avelo, th- and again, I'm taking off my Shearwater hat and putting on my scuba geek hat because oh my god, Shearwater is now in the business of dive gear after 20 something years of only doing computers. That's the coolest thing in the world because they're engaging instructors, they're engaging divers, they're engaging engineers, they're engaging all of the prowess to not only build the best electronics, but to build the best diving experience. And when I heard that, and they said, "Hey, would you like help bring this to market?" I'm like, yes." So yes, they announced that in on January 1st, 2025 at the Long Beach show. You will be seeing prototypes, actually not even prototypes any longer. At DEMA, you'll be seeing the actual jetpacks. Um, Please don't ask me whether they're going to go on sale, but it's going to be really soon. Um, they are in product, and it's an amazing it's an amazing experience diving it.
There's a lot of curiosity I'm seeing in our current group about the pump in particular, and
Ah.
if there are any improvements throughout, the rest of the design.
So yes, as a matter of fact, engineers talk in a bunch of letters and numbers and stuff. That's like FCM1 and FCM3. And I asked about the OU812, and they didn't understand my joke. So yes, there are improvements in the pump, both to make them a little bit lighter, a little bit softer, a little bit less noisy, a little bit more powerful. I mean, when you put power and then you've got pump and you've got everything, you think of all these things, but there is a lot of focus that is meant on simplicity, durability, and power. So yes, the pump is something that is absolutely integral into the new Shearwater, and it will be available with the Avelo as well. But the pump it's excellent. It's a little bit shorter, and th- it's it's cool. Even the battery is a little bit different, in that it'll charge a little bit, take a little bit longer to charge, but it'll hold the charge a little bit longer. And there are other things that I'm not allowed to talk about that are coming later on with the power of the Shearwater computers and such, that will then talk even that much more because it's attached to your tank, talk that much more to your tank, be able to get that much more information about your tank, about your battery, etc.
And will all Shearwater dealers be able to offer this as well as the Avelo Mode on air integrated computers?
Absolutely. Yes. All Shearwater dealers will be able to access the Shearwater gear. And if you're not a Shearwater dealer, then give me a call and we can talk about it because we, we want to get everybody in the Shearwater gear. Um, I mean, let's face it. When you've got something that says simply better diving, and then you've got simple, better, powerful, all in one, that's too much simple to go with. So it's simply a great mix to have Avelo with Shearwater. And yes, Shearwater. The amazing thing is you've got a tried and true company that says, you know what, uh, we believe in this startup world of Avelo so much that we're going to put our 20 plus years behind this because we think this is where the industry is going to go.
That's pretty awesome. I do see a couple of other technical questions. Just they're curious about the on off button. If that remains in a similar position. I know that Avelo internally, not with Shearwater, but I know at Avelo we've talked about adaptive diving and alternate designs. Technical co diving will eventually
Mhm.
come. So everyone, it will come, but like all things, we're working to perfect things before we release them to the world. And I know that y'all are working dutifully to get this ready to go to market early next year. And I know sales are happening. They'll have the actual Shearwater Jetpack on the show floor at DEMA show this year. Uh,
We're test driving it now. We've got. I get to be on meetings about it, about putting it together. How doing testing in the labs, doing testing. I mean, they've got and they literally one of the and again, I'm not speaking out of turn by saying one of the coolest things that I was in on this meeting. The engineer said we simply have to make sure that this is the best thing that's out there because that's what our product is. I'm like, dude, that's deep. That makes you cry. But to have people that are in-house that are that passionate even about this new product that they don't need to do this, and yet they want to do this. So yes, it is coming out there. Um, uh, Button positions, all those kinds of things, those are in the works, absolutely. Because yes, we're divers. If we can think about it, we're going to say it. If we can say it, then we want other people to think about it. Adaptive divers, absolutely. I'm a huge advocate of the adaptive community, and have been an instructor trainer in it for years. And I think this is one of the most amazing units to put any kind of adaptive diver in, literally any type of adaptive diver in. At the same time, the technical diver, i- if you can fake it, it's probably already being thought and worked on in the backgrounds. So I'd say we got your back because I'm the scuba geek that wants it all to happen.
thank you. You touched on the neutral buoyancy of the jetpack. Is it lighter to accomplish that as well? Is
Oh, so so I have these instructors that I just taught in their dry shoes that were wearing 6 to 8 pounds in their dry shoes to accomplish that. And then when they said, but raw, and actually I had somebody that said, oh, but the dry suit is going to catch up on you. I said, all right, so add 2 pounds at 40 feet. And they came up and they were hovering in a dry chute in 4 feet of water. And they came out and went, okay, can't do that in other gear. Okay.
oh, is the Shearwater Jetpack lighter?
Oh, it's the Shearwater Jetpack lighter. So the Shearwater Jetpack lighter is not only is lighter, but it even has a flotation device inside it, so that if you're not in a dry chute, for instance, that jetpack when you take it off is going to float. For those of you who are actually RAD certified, you know that if you were to take it off in the water, it's probably going to go down slowly, but it's going to go down because our own buoyancy pulls it up. Well, the Shearwater Jetpack is actually like about a pound positively buoyant, especially with the blue tanks. So it is never going to be the gear that pulls you down.
Amazing. We have so much going on. And I know that y'all are looking forward to announcing sales at the DEMA show. We've got a lot ourselves at Avelo that we're going to be announcing there. I know we've got Avelo Dive Center events happening. We've got a meeting at the show where we're going to make some massive updates to everybody. And we're maybe working on a secret event. We'll see. There are things in the works that are happening.
There are. So
Uh,
I'm gonna add two things. First of all, that's 5 y'alls that you said, Jennifer, in this whole thing. That's 5.
I've
Just,
been
just
home in Texas for a bit. Don't
there was not an all y'all, so that's okay. The other thing is, as far as becoming an Avelo Dive Center, if you've got any interest at all in becoming an Avelo Dive Center, um, we are all very hands-on. Fill out the interest. give us a call, send an email. If you want our Neil at shearwater.com, great. Contact us. We will always talk to you personally about how you can become an Avelo dive center, why it would be a good idea for you to become an Avelo dive center. And let's face it, we'll be honest. We might even say, you know what, maybe you don't want to do it just yet because we are from the industry, in the industry, not just for the industry. So by all means, contact us. We love to give information, which is why Jennifer so graciously puts together all these Zoom talks and stuff to best get you guys what's going on in our heads, because our heads and our hearts are on our sleeves. We want to dive. We want to bring Avelo to the world. We think it's really cool, and we think it's going to change. Every dive center is going to have a different way that they change and a different story to make them change. Let us help. We've seen a lot of different stories. Even if you're on that cusp of, you know what, I think, but I'm not. I'm not sure. Great, fine. Let's chat. Let's chat. I take phone calls just about anywhere, and believe me, Aviad, I don't think the man sleeps. So call.
Well, we're about to wrap up. So appreciate your time. We've gone on quite the journey through your history and ours and on into the future. I did have two last succinct questions. There was just one, something about a Tarot 2 coming out. I don't know if that is news that you have or can share.
You know, all kinds of things happen at Dima. You never know. You never know.
We'll just have to wait and see at DEMA. All of these amazing announcements. If you're not an Avelo Insider, sign up and join. You probably are if you're on this webinar. All of the links will be available in this. We will be posting it on YouTube after. And then another succinct question was just we're launching in Southeast Asia, and as a technical diver,
Chris is on the phone, right? Sorry. Yeah,
Oh.
I see him there.
Okay. As a technical diver, I remember when we got away from those Garmin Aladdin or the Aladdin. Remember the old Aladdin that was the numbers and the tiny and the no lighting up
I
and
remember.
and and then the Shearwater came out and illuminated our world with its LCD screens. But I had a very North American frame of mind about this, and now we're going into Southeast Asia. I only recently realized that Shearwater's got a global. I mean, they're from Canada, and I know we consider them part of us.
We say that Canada, eh?
But I didn't realize how active they are in Southeast Asia. So I didn't know if you could talk a little bit about product availability there.
So yeah, actually, we've got a very strong presence in Southeast Asia and Asia Pacific, primarily because of there's a lot of really cool. I didn't know that it was a thing. There's a lot of like mine diving. There's a lot of cave diving. There's a lot of really cool wreck and all this kind of stuff. I mean, Shearwater uh, build so many onboards or boards just for rebreathers alone. It's mind-boggling to look at. So as a matter of fact, we were at a convention in Malaysia just recently, and the presence there was incredible, because I think it's the simplicity of there are two buttons on the Perdix and the Peregrine TX. There are two buttons. That's it. So that makes it really simple to utilize. And then on the wrist mount, what's really cool is there are four. They do the same thing that those two do. I said to do, but with those four, I can go back. That's about the only. That's the real biggest difference is that I can go back if I miss something, because the screens are still big, they're still bright, they're still beautiful. I can choose my Buellman, I can choose my tissues, I can choose what I want to see on my thing, and in that market as well, it's very much a. And this is something that I didn't realize. We don't want to dive like our fathers did. Our fathers did this. Okay. Well, okay. Well, then let's be the new ones to dive this. Let's be the groundbreakers or I'd say water breakers, but I guess there's something bad about saying that. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's be the ones that change the industry. And it's wonderful to see more and more of both the as we call them the bricks and the actual watch type computers out there in all of the markets, in all of the markets. Here in Montreal, I literally had somebody stop. They were talking to Lee, who at Avelo, he's like the chief making everything happen. And he stopped the whole meeting. He said, "No, what you need to realize is here in Quebec, Shearwater is a religion." And so we said, okay, we're gonna go with that, and we're gonna go with you probably want to do an Avelo onboarding. They said, absolutely.
Wonderful. Speaking of bricks, my Predator finally bricked.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I know, I was very sad about it. It bricked.
You know, I know a guy that can help with that.
I've got a Perdex and a Terek, but thank you. Oh, it's been a delight talking with you this evening. I'll share some things, like I said, when we post this in YouTube, in the comments or the description below. And look forward to seeing everybody at our next Let's Talk Avelo, which will also
Yeah.
be listed. That'll be the week following Dima Show. We are not presenting live from Dima Show this year, if I can help it.
If you can kelp it, thank you very much, Lindsay. You can kelp it.
So,
Awesome.
no, it's been great. I'm looking forward to seeing all these announcements come to fruition. And it seems like you are excited about the future of diving.
Yes. Yes. Future, the future of diving, the future of what next, because of course there are new things that are going to be coming out with Avelo, new things that are going to be coming out with Shearwater, and just new, better, simpler ways of getting underwater. It's amazing, and it's wonderful to do so many full circles and see so many people that are just incredible movers in this industry make 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 the the educated leap to go into Avelo.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, again for joining us this evening. It's been great spending some time with you. Let's all go dive
Yay! Let's share water.
wherever in your local waters. Thank you very much. I'll see y'all next time. If there's any last questions, I see a lot of thank you and cheers, and you did great, and we appreciate you. We had a couple of people who had to leave because it's in the wee hours. But I think we covered all these questions, and we appreciate all our Avelo dive centers and instructors and
Very
everyone
much.
on this call.
Yes.
Thank
yes.
you.
Thank you, everybody.